All right. 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, aka Bros and Shows, with your co-host. I'm Steele Russell. I'm still working on the intro.
Oh no. Are we back to you not remembering your name?
No, it's just trying to work in the new intro because we're rebranding, as everybody knows. Let me try it again. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Longhorn Magoots. What's up, pal?
It's a work in progress. We'll figure it out.
We'll
At
get
some
there.
point it'll work. Yeah. Well, um, to my displeasure, we're back.
We're back.
RHONY it is, I guess. I don't know. Enough of you have been asking us if we're going to continue to recap it. Andy went on FanFest last week and said, you guys better get used to RHONY because it's going nowhere, to everybody's dismay. And yeah, we're back.
Here we are.
Yay!
Yeah, well,
Yay!
let's you know what? Here's the thing. We may not enjoy it, but we do take our job seriously here at the Brav Bros, at the Bros and Shows Network. We take this shit seriously. So don't worry, we're still going to put our enthusiasm into this. We're still going to recap it top to bottom. We're still going to get into it. Is it the best show ever? No. And I think my biggest question mark is, okay, fine, Andy. You know what? It's here to stay. RHONY is here to stay. What are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? And we don't have to address it. I think that you treat this season.
We do this every fucking
No.
episode too.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm saying if it's here to stay, right? So it's here to stay. I think this season's a wash. Whatever that's already on the cutting room floor. They already have everything there. I'm not saying you and I let's go back and forth and figure out how to do this. I'm saying I'm curious what we're going to get in the off season, what we're going to get next season. How will they fix this show? Because it is here to stay. And I think that was a big statement from Andy, especially at FanFest in lieu of BravoCon. It's like, okay, we all thought it was going to get paused, whatever. It's here. We're keeping it. I am curious to see how they're going to go about this. We don't need to discuss. It's simply a statement I'm making. I'm just curious because it has to change somehow. What are they going to do? Time will tell.
Hell if I know, honestly. We talk about this. Most of our recaps, yes, we're recapping the episode, but the entire time we're just trying to figure out how they fix it.
Right.
At
I don't want to do that now.
Since we stopped recapping in this newest episode, I think it's the 10th episode of the season, Raquel has taken a step forward. She's way more of a centerpiece. She's
good.
Doing a lot more. She's hosting an event. Obviously, it's her engagement party, but she's hosting events. She's getting mixed up. She's talking to a lot of the women. Instead of just being a standout star on her own, she's trying to mix it up at least a little bit. The problem is the rest of the cast. The rest of the cast isn't doing shit. They are stuck. They aren't trying to change. They're, for whatever reason, thinking, hey, what we're doing is working, guys. And it's not. And I get that, it's a lot different to be in the moment and be filming and say,
Yeah,
yeah,
we've seen that on
this
a
is
lot
going
of
to work.
shows, right?
This is going to work. And then it just doesn't hit. The problem is they don't know in real time that it's not going to work. It's not like they can get the feedback from the fans and then change their approach. They're just going with it. So this is what we're going to get all season. I don't expect some sort of drastic change over the next 5 or 6 episodes. Obviously we still have a cast trip involved and whatever is going to happen there. Who knows?
Where they need to stop filming or cut filming short.
Well,
like, I don't know.
Obviously, the easy answer is they do need to recast. They need to get rid of a couple people.
Yeah.
They need a couple people gone, a couple people in. That's the only way that this is going to work. Whether they're going to bring back some of the legacy cast, I don't know. Whether they're going to bring in new faces, that seems more reasonable to me. That seems like something that they're going to do. So we don't know the answer. We really don't. They are stuck in this. They have invested so much money in this. It's New York. It's a staple series. It's a staple destination for housewife shows, and we're stuck with it.
Yeah, and like I said, we're not doing the game that we normally do of how do we fix it, shooter? Let's go back and forth until we figure it out. We both don't know at this point. It's just it's going to be interesting because I think that you nailed it. I think they put a shitload into the advertising for this show, the marketing for this show. They really tried to make it successful by paying for it, and it just didn't land. I will say this. I think that in this cast, at least from diving back in as we have, Raquel's definitely bringing it. I like her. she's good. She's entertaining. She's interesting. I like her relationship with Mel. That's interesting. I like that they are open about everything. Like, it's so crazy. It doesn't take a whole lot. Just share your life and we'll actually buy into it. Not to mention, I mean, they're just captivating people. But I think that Aaron, I know that you go back and forth. I think she's doing enough again on a show that's not doing great. I think she's trying, and I think that you have Brynn again, who we've watched struggle through it, but try. I think on the other side, with the rest of the cast, that's where my biggest issues lie. Because if we had, let's say, Raquel, Aaron, and Brynn doing what they're doing, right, on a different show where the rest of the cast is performing and you get the one standout star, that's a different story. Now it's like, okay, well, these three are whatever, but you have a decent cast around them. I think they can at least be a supporting cast. So you have pieces. We'll see what they do with it. We're not going to keep doing this game every week. And you monsters sit here and listen to it. And then you comment things on YouTube like, I'm not even watching the show, but I listened to your recap to drive the numbers. And we're weeping at home. We're weeping. God damn it.
It was just such a unfortunate series of events getting back into this.
Lemony Snicket.
I sat here, and luckily enough, with me going on a trip tomorrow night, I am able to work from home. So I'm able to just kind of go about my day, do a little bit of work, watch a little bit of Bravo, start thinking about what I want to do for the post, for the recap and everything. I'm watching Beverly Hills. I'm enjoying it. That's another episode that there wasn't a whole lot there, but we're enjoying the season.
It was
and I
entertaining,
like
right?
it,
It was
and it's
light and fun.
entertaining, and it's fun, and there's enough there that we need to know answers for. And then I turn on RHONY, and I'm like, why are we back here? Why
We're
are we
back.
doing this? And this episode had different things than other episodes this season just haven't had. But still, there's just, you can point everything out and say, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. There's not enough here. The whole party, the engagement party, it's like, this would be fun if you guys are all showing up with Abe and Erin showing up as each other and everything. That would be cool if the show was good. If the show was awesome and you guys had a good reprieve where we got a couple of laughs in there, awesome. But we don't like you guys, so this isn't funny to me. This is boring.
I actually enjoyed the party. I
Oh,
didn't mind the party, and we'll get there. But let's stop wasting time. Let's jump into this. And we start out. Sai has sliced her foot by drop kicking a bag. That sucks. She actually got like close to the artery, which she mentions way later. And I'm like, that's actually kind of scary. But the Jenna Lions stoop sale happens, and it's just fascinating to me because that would be interesting. Like, that's interesting to me. The fact that there's people lined around the corner to go check out her closet is interesting to me, but I'm not really getting invested in it. I'm like, okay, like whatever. I was kind of going along for the ride. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Beyonce wore that. That's cool. She wore that at the Met Gala. That's kind of cool. And then she says something, and I'm immediately like, I don't care now, because she's like, you know what? I'm trying to get rid of some things. Like, I always try to move some things around. At the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? I need to get rid of all of it because I am so in love with my partner, Cass, and I want her to move in, and I love just spending time with her and this and that and the other thing. It's like, you cannot talk about her anymore unless we're allowed to meet her. We met her mom, but we're not allowed to meet her. So I was somewhat intrigued by the stoop sale until she mentioned why she's doing it. I'm like, well, now I'm just mad because we don't get the payoff as to why you're doing this. You know, we get to see people come in and out, whatever. They're excited to meet Jenna Lions. They're
but do
excited
you
to buy
think
your clothes.
do you think they're excited to meet Jenna Lions because for the fashion aspect, like those girls that walked in that saw her and
Those
audibly
were
gasped?
RHONY fans.
Do you think they were RHONY fans?
The first ones were, I think you get a mix, honestly, because
Okay.
she is a fashionable person in New
That's
York City.
and I respect that. I
Yeah, I
respect
know
the
you
hell
do.
out of that. I like that she is that person in that world. She's a terrible housewife. So
She's not great.
if you're gonna be excited to go meet her, that is one of the lowest people on the totem pole that I'd be excited to meet. I'd
Well,
be
I
more
think
excited to meet Adriana in Miami than I would Jenna Lyons.
well, I think what you get is the fact that, you know, regardless of who it is, you're in a housewife's beautiful New York
You're on
apartment.
camera,
You're
so
on camera. One of them bought her RHONY jacket and walked out with that. Like, I saw that. So, like, I get the
that
allure.
is that symbolism, by the way.
Oh, I don't know. I could. No, the show's not that deep. Yeah, come on now. Like, get the fuck
No,
out of here.
can we read into that? That person who just took that jacket, that's actually Jenna Lyons leaving. Good.
Oh, that's
See
the
ya.
or it's the next housewife that just
Yeah.
bought the jacket and joined the show. Whoever buys this jacket, there's a note in the pocket that says, "Congratulations, you're up next."
And it's like a post-credit scene for a Marvel movie now.
That would be interesting, actually, if they
We're
started to
doing
just
it
totally
again. We're,
shift.
we're
Yeah, it's
changing.
impossible not to. Okay, it's impossible
We're
not to
trying
because
to make
here's
it
the
more
difference.
interesting than it
Here's
is.
the difference between you and I, because I'll watch this and
You
as
can
a serial
compartmentalize.
optimist,
You can compartmentalize. Yeah.
I compartmentalize and try to find things where I'm like, all right, I'm gonna at least try to watch this. Okay, I'm at least gonna try to enjoy this part. You, who are a serial pessimist, and you're gonna say, no, I'm a realist, because that's what people like you do.
No, I'm a pessimist for sure.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Without a doubt.
You watch it and go, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Hey, stranger that just walked in, I hate you too. That's your outlook. I don't have that outlook.
Mhm.
But I think it's impossible for us to watch this and not try to find ways to make it more enjoyable, even when we agree. Before we start recording, we agree. Let's not do that. And we do it, but whatever.
Honestly,
Let's
my
keep.
phone during this entire episode was calling to me like the Green Goblin mask. Like I'm Willem Dafoe,
Oh, I
and
put mine
my
to
phone
charge
was
because,
yeah,
yeah,
smart.
yep.
My phone was sitting on the other side of the couch, and I just kept staring at it like TikTok would be way more interesting than this.
I
I'd
put
rather
mine
watch
away.
a scene from a movie that I've already seen 50 times on TikTok, part 21, whatever, because they have the entire movie on those things. Then I'd rather watch this. So yeah, that's what happens. I
Can we
didn't.
get, can we analyze now? Are we vented enough?
No, we're gonna keep venting.
Okay, cool. Well, we
Yeah.
get to Raquel and Aaron, and they had a little bit of a falling out last week at the picnic. I think that was somewhat triggered by Ubah and the gaslighting thing. And it all comes from the stupid prank, which no, we didn't recap that episode. We were going to, and our idea was to do our normal intro, say we're here to talk about the prank episode. And I was going to say, well, that's all I got. You got anything else? Nope, Rob Bros are out here. That was our plan. And we didn't even have the time to do that because we've been a little busy. But this all stems from the Rebecca Minkoff rumor that she was swinging, got pregnant, whatever. And now you have Raquel and Aaron who have been tight. They are kind of butting heads, so they have this lunch to clear the air, which I'm glad that they were able to sweep this one. And I know that we have talked about one of our issues this season being the fact that we're too quick to move on sometimes.
Yeah.
But the flip side of this group, as we've seen carry over from last year, is they will also get stuck on certain things that are not sticky. Like these things should not be a sticking point. Like they're missing the mark as to what they should be upset about for a long period of time, what they shouldn't be. So this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's a disagreement. It's not that deep. Let's move on from this whole thing because you guys are friends, whatever. But you're starting to see who are the driving forces of divides in this group. A lot of the time it is Bryn, and like Bryn was part of this because she was saying that she was in on it and she's telling Raquel, like, oh, she let me know this whole thing, which she really, to our knowledge, she knew about it, but she wasn't one of the pranksters.
No.
Like, so it's not that deep. Raquel gets upset, Aaron gets upset. It's a whole misunderstanding, but they hash it out. They move on and they start talking about Ubah. And we have seen the tension. And I don't know if this is all stemming from the glasses thing on the cast trip last year. I just feel like they don't vibe. I feel like they just don't get along to a certain point, even though they force it down our throats week after week. Like, I love Ubah. I love Aaron. We're like sisters. We do this, we do that. But then we watch the episode, and all they do when they're not near each other is talk shit about the other one and then say that the other person's in the wrong. Like, that's what we keep getting from this whole thing. And it hits its peak with the gaslight comment when Ubah walks in, is like, "Oh, I'm glad I'm not being gaslit this time. It's Jenna." I feel like Ubah tries to get under Aaron's skin much more so than Aaron does with Ubah. Aaron says some stupid shit because I don't know if she doesn't think it through. I'm not sure what her game plan. I don't think it's a game plan. I think she's just gossiping. Some shit comes out, and then Ubah hears it, and she acts like it's the end of the world. That, oh, you're such a snake. You're a pigeon. Or you're this. You're that. You're the other. It doesn't need to be that fucking serious all the time. That goes back to what Raquel said, where it's like you say one wrong thing and you don't talk for a year. The stuff that they are arguing about does not need to be this deep.
It doesn't matter. Nothing they talk about matters. And
Mm-mm.
Ubah is Ubah has to go. She
She's
has to
not.
go.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
cannot survive the second season. She can't handle being a housewife. It looks like at times she can't even handle being a friend to people because she doesn't
Mm-mm.
understand how things work. She gets so up in arms over the stupidest little things that happen. And I just don't understand it. And the worst part is she drags everybody else down. Sai, who was, annoying as shit last year, she at least did things and she drove storylines to a certain extent. This year, she's just there for Ubah to complain to, and then they just kind of add on to it. It's just, if Ubah was annoyed and she was annoying to the fans, and she just started going on tirades, fine, go ahead and do that. You're going to be really annoying and it's going to be really unpleasant to watch, and I just don't want to deal with it because you can't handle being a housewife and you're ruining the show. If the rest of the cast could stay out of it and just be like, oh well, let Ubah go off and just kind of like let her do her thing, whatever, it's not going to affect me, that would be one thing. But she does it in a way that brings half the group to her side, and then we have to talk about it all the time. What are we even talking about anymore? You're still upset about so many little things that happened, and I get it. No big things have happened. There is no real big overarching storyline that we actually care about. There's nothing that's captivating the audience. I understand that. But Ubah is the driving force of the annoyance right now, and she has to go. For everybody else to be able to maybe step up and become a housewife, Ubah can't be there. So she,
I
like,
agree.
if she survives this season, I am going to be livid because we're going to
Well,
have to watch it again, and it's going to be the same shit.
I agree, and I think that the biggest issue right now is that if you try to get messy, right, and we've watched it happen time and time again. If you try to get messy and Ubah's involved in any way, shape, or form, it turns into you're defaming my character. You're ruining my image, whatever the fuck it is. It's like, it doesn't need to be that deep all the time. Sometimes it can be some people talking shit, trying to stir the pot. She called her out at the reunion. You're a shit stir. That's what we need on these shows. I'm not saying we want to
That's
watch
what these
fights
shows
all the
are.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to see fights all the time, but we do need to see some drama, some shady comments, and we need to be able to see them without it becoming this huge deal to where people are now not wanting to speak up because they don't know how long it's going to last. And with Sai, you had her on this Zen journey, whatever she was trying to do, whatever. Was it entertaining? Not really. But now she's on Team Ubah, and they just both sit there and spin narratives back and forth, whether they're true or not, or whether that they're that deep or not. They're not interesting, but they feed into it with each other. And now they're bringing Raquel into it, and that last scene that we get with them talking, and I'm like, dude, don't drag her into this, please, because now she's picking sides, and there's no real sides here. You just need to move on from this shit. And it's crazy to me that we watched for the first, I don't know, 6, 7 episodes. Ubah hated Bryn. You're a
Yep.
snake. You're a liar. You're two-faced. You talk behind our back. We saw the Hamptons trip get ruined because you couldn't leave Bryn alone. Now, because you found an in with Bryn, or you see that you can team up with Bryn, now you're going to bat for Bryn and talking shit about Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, where's the line? What are we doing? What's our focal point? What are we supposed to be focused on? And who are we supposed to be mad at? Why are we mad at them? Can you tell me? This is genuine. Tell me what we're pissed off about.
From what perspective?
Ubah and Sai.
Oh, I have no fucking idea. I think they just don't like Bryn that much, but who the hell knows? I don't
And they
think that
think Aaron's two-faced, but that goes back. It's like whoop whoop, back
it
forth,
really
back forth.
is. I saw a comment because Bravo tries to put these out every week, and they don't really do it for other shows as much as they do it for RHONY. So they know they have a problem on their hands, and they post these things on Instagram, and every single comment is negative, 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 negative. And I saw one that actually made me laugh, and it was the real passive aggressive coworkers of New York, because that's what they are. That
That's
is all
perfect.
they are. They are coworkers that have to see each other because they work in the same building. They don't really like each other, and they're just being petty and passive aggressive the entire time. And none of it really matters in the end of the world. We don't care. We just do not care. And that's the worst part. I might be able to give you a real answer as to what I think Ubah's actually mad about, but there's no investment from me as a viewer.
Mm,
So I can't really think that deeply on it because I don't know and I don't care at the end of the day. And she just drives me crazy because it's ruining the entire show. Like
yeah,
to the
it's
point that
tough.
you just made where everybody's afraid to even say anything around her because they don't know what the backlash is going to be. Aaron's not really. Bryn wasn't really. but you see what happens. She has an absolute meltdown and goes after you, and it can't be pleasant. It can't be fun, and it's not in a good fucking like old RHONY
It's not in
way
like a
where they would like
housewifey way where it's
no,
like
like it's
dig, shade,
yeah, it's
shade. It's
like
like
this
you're
isn't like
defaming my character, you snake, snake, snake. It's like,
yeah, no,
bro,
it's just annoying and like she said pigeon like 50 times this year and it never landed. It just
no, not
hasn't landed
once.
once. So I just don't understand what we're doing here.
And it's a bummer because you know what? Sai had the makings last season. Like, yeah, she wasn't our favorite last
Yeah.
year, but she had the makings of not necessarily a villain, but you know, just that person that she's gonna talk a lot of shit.
Yep.
Don't step to her because she's gonna come after you, but in a more shady, fun way. Like she had the makings to where I was like, okay, I'm looking for a big step forward from Sai this season.
Yep.
She went on her Zen journey. Look, it's a personal choice, whatever. But now she's kind of in the middle where it's like now she's not even doing her own thing. Now she's kind of a side piece to the rest of the show
Hmm.
and not giving us kind of anything. And I think that she had a chance to stand out this year, and she did not. And that's a bummer for me. And I get stuck on that one a lot because I had high
Right.
hopes for Sai, and I didn't love her last year, but I saw pieces and I was like, okay, she can do this. And now it's all out the window.
I
But
agree with that.
we get to the engagement party, and it's this is a ballroom culture, which is part of the queer culture, which is it's voguing, it's wearing iterations of yourself, I believe was explained later. It looks like a
Yeah.
fucking blast. All right, so that's why I
It
had a
was
fun.
another chosen family event.
Yes, it was a chosen family
Did a lot
event.
of those.
And this, I actually was like, okay, I fuck with this. This is cool. This looks like an absolute blast. People are getting down on the dance floor. The dance move that everybody's doing, I would tear my ACL, my MCL, my hamstring. They keep landing on their leg all funky.
Yeah.
What is that called?
No
What's
idea.
that move?
I have no idea, but I thought the same thing. Like I wouldn't be able to walk for 2 years probably.
I flinched as they kept landing. I was like, ooh, my knee. Ooh.
Yep. I
Shit.
popped a hip watching them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I had
Yeah.
to ice during this, but I will say, I thought Jenna nailed it. Like when she walked in, I was like, wow, that's well done. I did think that Jessel nailed it, even though Brynn says later she doesn't. Like she did look like Madonna. I thought everybody got the assignment. Brynn, meh. I thought
No.
she was just dressed for like a gala with
Sure.
sparkles on.
She
Pavitt,
misread.
Pavitt looks like he's like a pimp in the 70s. I didn't really know that look either. Or like Boogie
No.
Nights. Boogie Nights. That's
Boogie
what the
Nights,
vibe I
yeah.
got. Yeah. Boogie Nights vibe from Pavitt. Abe and Aaron, good.
Good.
Like that. I
Yep.
learned a lot though. I
I like
learned a
the
lot.
commitment.
I learned about butt pad undies. Didn't know
Yep.
about those. So you can enhance your booty without enhancing your booty.
Yep.
And I learned about a soft pack,
Mhm.
which is a fake pee-pee.
Yep.
Now, is it a soft pack because it's a soft pee-pee?
Do you think there's a hard pack?
That was my question. Let's get
Yeah.
to the nitty-gritty. Let's get to the hard
It's
questions.
just a strap on at that point.
Jesus Christ. Okay, fine. Well, these are the moments where I'm like, all right, this gets me excited within this realm. Okay. Do you understand what that means? Like this gets me excited within the realm of RHONY. So it's if it was another show, I'd be like, this is nothing. But because I'm searching and clawing and scratching and trying to unearth something to be like,
I
ooh,
get what you're trying to do, but the word
ooh,
excited in this show just don't work for me.
I understand that, but I'm gonna stick with it. When Raquel's talking and Mel are talking about they haven't set a date yet, they're not sure when they're getting married, and she goes on to talk about Chris Rock so nonchalant. She's like, "Oh man, like Chris Rock went on a rant about this, about I was like an
Heartbreak.
international heartbreaker," and she was telling Mel this, like, "Oh, she's not gonna settle down, this, that, the other." I was like, okay, so this is why the show sucks because you have Raquel, who's in the high art world, knows Chris Rock by his first name. They can chit chat. Chris Rock knows her enough to tell anecdotes about her. You've got Jenna Lions who goes to the Met Gala all the time. You've got people that have the connections.
Yep.
These are celebrities. They're amongst celebrities. We don't talk about this shit ever. Ever. Why? We're in RHONY. We're supposed to. I want to hear about Chris Rock. I want to hear what you did at the Met Gala. I want to talk about this stuff, but we don't. We talk about the same trivial nonsense each week, and it is. I'm I am irritated. I'm irritated
Yeah.
by this. Yes, I
Yeah.
am, because she's talking about Chris Rock. That's cool, but like I don't fucking care. And Raquel's cool, but I don't care. Whatever. I'm gonna keep going. Woosah.
Well, I mean, look, she did wear the heart dress for the fourth time now that we've seen this.
Yeah.
I guess that's the theme of the year because we also
Okay.
saw Brittany went to Saint Laurent and found it and put it on. So now
Okay.
we've seen it again. I don't
Oh,
know.
all right. We'll go with that because I was told
Yeah.
that there was only two in the world.
Yeah. So now Brahman's just lying.
I'm getting it's getting debunked unless
Uh-huh.
that was unless they sell it back or it was like a rent the runway deal, which that would be a scathing indictment on Braun. I'm not saying that. I feel like her attorney's
Jeez.
gonna come after me.
I
I
don't
didn't. That's not what I said. I feel like that of all the shit that we've said,
I'm
that's the
happy.
one I feel like that's gonna come back and get me.
I'm happy you realized how terrible it was that you said rent the runway.
Oh yeah, no, that would come back and like I would get a cease and desist about that. Not our
Yeah.
rants about the dudes on these shows.
Nope.
That's gonna be the one to bite us in the ass. I'm not saying she did that. I'm just saying we've
Uh-huh.
seen this dress thrice, and I was
Thrice.
told that it's only made twice.
Yep.
Okay, but Ubah's not partying. She's sitting at the table, and it seems like she's pissed at Aaron because of what we've seen and how we've seen her talk about Aaron. Right? Like it's not a secret. You just called her a gaslighter at your picnic,
Yep.
and then she left. So clearly you guys aren't good. It's weird though because apparently there's phone calls every day. I'm not really sure where they stand, but I will say there's obviously tension between the two of you. That's not a secret. And Ubah goes and talks to Jenna about it, and Jenna lets it slip. Not lets it slip, just flat out tells her Aaron thinks that we're coming after her. And she's like, "Well, we talk all the time, and with everything I'm going through, she says this. Nobody's coming for her." But as we see later, it gets really difficult to stay on task for me when Ubah's ranting about stuff because we saw the text message before this. We're going to see it again after this,
Mm-hmm.
where she calls her pathetic. She calls her a snake. We've seen how she talks about her with other people. If I'm on the receiving end of that, any of those three individually, all those together, I do think that you have something against me. I don't know if you're coming for me,
Yeah.
but you clearly don't like me. But it's almost as though Ubah lives moment to moment where it's like, I'm not mad at her right now. So what is she talking about? But then she'll go talk to somebody behind a closed door and be like, oh, I hate her. It's like, well, where are we? Because I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't understand where she's coming from because the flipping and the flopping, she's done it with Brynn, she's done it now with Aaron. I don't get the calls every single day. Like, what are you guys talking about that you can't show on camera? Jenna also said something about talking to Aaron on the phone a little bit earlier, and like we didn't see any of that either. So it's just like, what is happening? Like, why are we hearing about these phone calls that are happening behind scenes? But then when we see you guys on camera, you're acting completely different. Like we're hearing that you're doing things on the side. Ubah too. Like I get it. I
Yeah.
think it makes more sense for Aaron to be confused at why Ubah's acting that way when they're talking every single day. Like why does Ubah still have a problem with me? Why is she calling me a gaslighter? Why is she making me cry and walk away from a picnic when we talk every day?
Mhm.
Ubah sitting there and saying, we talk every single day. Why does she think I'm coming after her? It's like, because you are coming after her. Every
We've
time the
seen it.
cameras are rolling, every time that you have an event, you're going after her. You're going after
Mhm.
really everybody that says anything even remotely negative. So yeah, of course she's coming after you. Like that makes sense. I don't understand. Like it's just not getting through to me what Ubah's motives are, and I don't think that she really knows what her motives are either. Like sometimes we'll
That's
look
a
at
good
these
way to put it.
things and say, "Oh, they're putting on a facade for the show. They're trying to drum up some sort of drama or interest in the show that might land with the viewers, and it might be a storyline, and we can keep this going for a while, but we're still going to talk and be friends, but we're acting like we're at odds." With Ubah, I don't get the sense that she's doing anything for the show. It just seems like she just doesn't know where she is. Like
Yeah.
she can't land on one side or the other, but in like it's like a microcosm for the whole thing that Ubah is doing is saying that you talk on the phone every day and also saying, "Well, yeah, I am coming after her because she is a gaslighter." Like, what?
Yes.
Like, how? It's so confusing. And if
If
it's
she says we're
confusing,
good, we're fine, but we talk. But she is a gaslighter. She's a snake, but we're good.
yeah,
But
like
we're
she
not good
just
because
keeps
now she's
going
talking
back and
shit.
forth, and you're calling everybody pigeons. You're calling everybody snakes. She called Aaron after when Aaron was saying that she had secrets about everybody, which like it's a nothing comment. She got offended at that. It's like, well, you
Yeah.
can tell whatever secret you have about me, you can say, and she calls her a bitch. Like, I just do not genuinely understand Ubah at all.
Nope.
And again, whatever she's doing does not play for any reality TV show. That's why she's just not made for it. She just doesn't belong here.
Yeah, I think you're right. But let's keep going. We get to talk about this is a real scene. This one is a tougher scene. I wasn't expecting this, but we're talking about Bryn's book deal with Smith and Schuster.
Mhm.
Simon and Schuster, Smith and
Simon
Schuster,
and Schuster.
Jesus,
Yeah.
Simon and Schuster. So she signed a book deal. It's like a self-help autobiography or tell-all or something like
It's
that.
a self-help memoir, but there's a
Memoir. Thank you.
ghostwriter writing it. Now, I was
Right.
interested to see that this ghostwriter just showed up and she got the I guess the label of ghostwriter. That's usually something you try to keep hidden, I think.
Nah,
But
I
maybe
mean,
not.
nah, if it's like
I
a
don't know.
co-write, like some people just you tell them and they translate it. But I guess the ghostwriter is speaking. Bryn clarified in she's writing the anecdotes
Yeah.
and she's going to bring the tools on how to use this stuff to self-help. But I will say this about this scene. This helped me understand Bryn a lot more
Yeah.
just based on her behavior and how she acts sometimes and her dating life and kind of a lot sort of clicked where I'm like, okay, this does make sense. And it's
Mhm.
unfortunate that this is why it makes sense. But she starts talking about she had previously been sexually assaulted. And I think it was 4 years ago, if
I
I
think
if I
so.
heard that correctly. And this completely changed her life, as it does with so many people. And it was difficult to listen to. Again, it does help you understand why she is the way she is, especially currently. But she's talking about how it affected her relationship with her Mimi. And we know that she passed away. And she pretty much says, I lost an entire year with her because I was so afraid to tell her or ashamed to tell her that for a year I distanced myself and then she
Yeah.
passed away and I'll never get that time back. She talks about her relationships, the fact that she's not able to get too close to a guy anymore because at some point she realizes I'm going to have to tell him about this and she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
So it's really ravaged her entire life and that's it's so sad to hear and it sounds like she's working through it in her own way and I think this book is going to help her do that and I think it's going to help a lot of people and I think again just by watching her be open about it's going to help a ton of people. But
Yeah, I mean, we can look at this scene in a vacuum essentially.
yeah,
This
yes.
is yes, it does give you a lot of insight into who Bryn is, where she came from, a little bit of backstory, which we always like to have on these shows because it helps us understand who you are as a person, helps us understand the things that you're doing. And this is something that's super fucking tough to share. And we've
Mhm.
been seeing a lot of that on Bravo recently. And it's gotta be a lot to sit down and have a scene like this to actually open up. And it shows how far she's come. It shows, everything that she's gone through, the fact that she's able to talk about this on a national platform and get through to people because I'm sure this resonates with a ton of different people. Whether you're watching this show or not, you might just see the clip. It's going to resonate with you because she's able to be open about it. She's able to sit there and talk to you, talk to the audience, talk to the ghostwriter, and get through everything and even come out on the other side and say, I knew that I was through this or I knew that I was at least healing because I was able to make a dick joke. So in a
Yeah.
way that really only Bryn can do that, where she can talk about something that is traumatic in her life, something that will resonate with a lot of people watching, something that is very serious, and it's something that happens all the time, that she can sit there and talk about how she got through it and then still throw in a dick joke at the end. That is Bryn. And
Yeah.
that's something that I think that this show, and look, I'm not saying that people need to have traumatic events in all of these shows, but it's something that this show has been missing because we haven't had a lot of backstory. We haven't had a lot of personal stories about growth and things that have happened in their lives, in their background and in their backstory for the audience. We haven't had a lot of that. We haven't been able to attach ourselves to somebody emotionally, and this is one of those scenes that could happen. So again, looking at this in a vacuum, great job by Bryn to even be able
Yeah.
to share this, to even be able to go on the national platform and go through all of this. So kudos to her.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that if you look at it in a broader scope and you want to say, that the big struggle with this show is a lot of the cast members aren't willing to get into their past. And we're not
Yeah.
saying it needs to be something to this degree.
Sure.
Obviously, if you feel comfortable sharing, that's on you and it's powerful. And thank you for sharing. But of course, not everyone's going to feel up to it. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk about emotional connection with characters, getting them to open up, then I will once again credit Brynn for 2 seasons in a row, because last year we got to learn about her family life
Yep.
growing up. So as we're trying to nitpick as to who's actually trying to deliver, who's actually opening up, who's actually allowing or trying for a connection with the audience, again, I'll credit Brynn here for opening up, and especially with something so delicate. But it also, I think that it has a lot more ramifications when you think about it too, because now the comment that Jeff Lewis made and that other people make about the fact that she's an escort, or like, where does she get her money? When you're hearing from her here that she's not comfortable getting close to men, period, over the past year because of her traumatic
Yeah.
experience with sexual assault, that's a whole different story now. Where, okay, it's like a one-off shady comment on a radio show. It's like, no, she's dealing with all this shit, and now she also has to defend the fact that she's not a sex worker.
Right.
Meanwhile, she's seemingly not even getting intimate with men because of this horrible experience that she went through 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's how long this will affect, and it could affect somebody their entire life. Like, that's why this shit is so fucked and so sad. But I hope that this is a step forward for her and able to heal from it. I know, again, when these things happen on TV, it reaches people that have been affected by it as well, and will help some people. So as you said, in a vacuum, this is a touching scene. Good for you, Bren. It was powerful. I know that it helped people. So, and it does. It helps you understand her more.
Yeah.
Again, that sucks that it takes something like that and her opening up about it to be like, okay, like, certain things that you do make sense because you're protected.
Yep.
So thank you, Bren. But the last scene is a split scene between Sai, Raquel, and Ubah. This made me nervous for Raquel, getting mixed up in, like, in the
Mhm.
nonsense, nothing fights. I'm like,
Yep.
dude, just stand alone for the season. Be you, get involved in a different way, but, like,
Yep.
don't get dragged into this back and forth where we don't know what's happening, even as the scene's going on. Because on the flip side, you have Bryn and Aaron, and it starts out on both sides. We're fine. We talk every day. But you start to peel back the layers, and it's like, well, not really, though, because on one side, Ubah's confused because they talk every day, but she's blaming Aaron for the conflict being created.
Hmm.
Now we look back, she's like, oh, Aaron says I create the conflict. Well, how? When did I do that? We go over to Aaron. She's like, well, here. She called me pathetic. She called me a gaslighter. She said I'm messy. Like, she says all these things to other people. She says it to my face. She calls me a snake. So yeah, I feel like she's coming at me a little bit. Not to mention you have Bryn, who's trying to start some shit, and we've seen her do it all season where it's not necessarily true. Like with Jessel being basic. She's like, oh, Jenna
Yep.
called you basic. We saw the scene. Jenna didn't call her basic. You called her basic, Bryn. So now you have Bryn, who had agreed with Ubah previously, like, oh yeah, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you guys are fine. And then she's talking to Aaron, and she's like, every time I talk to Ubah, she's like, I'll say something nice about you. And Ubah's like, oh, well, let me tell you something about her. So she's over there stirring the pot. Could you say she's trying to do her job? Maybe. Is it landing? No, this stuff doesn't land because it's just too dysfunctional. I can't track it. I don't know what's going on. And on the flip side, with Ubah and Sai, they're just feeding into it. Well, you can't, Aaron, you can't even talk to Aaron. Like, this is how it goes there every single time. And it's not worth talking to her. And Sai's like, I understand. I understand. It's like, based on what though? Like, the trivial shit with the cheese last year and the food, and just nothing of substance. I wish that we gave them credit last year for being able to move on. I'm flipping a complete 180. They can't. They can't have lighthearted, shady fights because it turns into, you are ruining my brand. You are ruining the public image of me. They're not. Nobody's doing that. No one cares if you guys have some funny shade thrown back and forth, but we seemingly can't afford to do that. We can't have funny one liners. We can't have people poking and prodding because it turns into this whole thing where they're snakes, they're pigeons, they're gaslighting. She didn't even use the term gaslight correctly at the picnic, as Raquel points out, and it leads to Aaron leaving. And then Ubah's pissed at Aaron for leaving, but Aaron's pissed at Ubah for saying gaslight. Like, it's just silly, but not like, ha ha, silly. Like, silly, like, why am I wasting my time, silly?
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. And again, it just creates more confusion
Mm-hmm.
because we don't know what's going on. Aaron and Brynn have been, I would say, targets number 1 and 2 this year from the other side of the cast for various reasons. I
And last
still
year, I feel like
do
they
not,
came under
yeah,
fire.
yeah, and I still do not understand what Sai's beef is with Brynn. It seems that she's mad. If I can just put this how I want to put it, Sai is mad at Brynn for trying to make a good housewife show. Because that's all Brynn is really trying to do. Is she clumsy about it? Is she doing it in the wrong context? Is she doing it with the wrong group of people? Yes, across the board. But we can point out, because we've watched a lot of these shows and we analyze them, these are typical tropes that happen during housewife shows. And Brynn is trying to do something
She's trying.
by being shady and talking to both groups and telling things that she heard from other people and trying to stir up some drama. That's all she's trying to do. She's trying to get you guys out of your boring fucking lives and get into a real housewife show.
Even
And
if she's
instead,
lying like incessantly and making things up, who cares? That
who
happens a
cares?
lot.
That's what happens. And that's what we need. She's at least trying, and she's not the best person for it, as we've seen, because it never works. But more than anything, it's the rest of the cast that just can't handle it. Sai's health journey is just her staying out of shit. That's all
Hmm.
it is. She's not doing anything any differently. She's just being more of herself, but quietly, and sticking to people like Ubah so that she can talk shit in private. That's all you're really doing. You haven't really changed at all. And I said that in the first episode when we did this. It's one, not going to be good for the show, and it hasn't. And two, you're not changing at all. You're just not talking to people that you have problems with, which is not conducive to a good housewife show. So Brynn and Aaron sitting over there saying, yeah, I just don't understand it. Like, we can apologize. We can try to figure it out. We can try to get on good terms with them, but it never seems to actually work because Ubah won't let it work. And Ubah and Sai are sitting over there like, oh no, yeah, we can. Why would we even try?
Not
You
worth
know
it.
what happens when you talk to Aaron. You know what happens when you talk to Aaron. Aaron responds and she
She'll
tries to
move
make
on.
it. She moves on. She doesn't want to be stuck there. Bryn
No.
doesn't want to be stuck there. They just want to move on so that they can do fun things and try to make a good show. You guys are stuck for whatever reason. I'm
Haha, I
happy,
turned you into saying Aaron is trying.
but
Got you.
I don't know. Yeah, dude, it's not that fucking hard to try, to be honest. I still don't think she's good, and I don't really know if I want to see her return because now she's pregnant now. And look, I on Watch What Crappens, they always say if there's a pregnant person in a housewife show, it's never good for the TV show. And we saw that with the Valley last year. It might not be good again. We'll have to see how that works out. But I just don't get it. And I don't think that Raquel, at least from what I saw, I don't think she's getting sucked into the Sai and the Ubah side at all. I think she
That's
just
good.
happened to be there for the scene. So if
Just by
she can,
commenting there, I'm like, uh-oh.
just the fact that Raquel has been able to grow. She's a newcomer. She's been able to get into the middle and be a central figure on this show in spite of the rest of the cast. That's really impressive.
That
We
is
talk
impressive.
about newcomers being able to come on strong, being able to figure out their footing, being able to get their way in and ingratiate themselves with not only the fans, but the rest of the cast. The fact that Raquel's able to do this on a horseshit show that
With
sucks
no help, really.
with zero help because the rest of the cast is spiraling and they're terrible at their jobs. Raquel has been able to move through all of that and get right to the center very quickly. What happened to Jessel, by the way? Can we just point this out?
I have
What happened to
no
Jessel?
idea.
You're
I
on the
do
cover of
not
Rolling
know.
Stone last year. You're the head of the fucking housewife show.
You're on Saturday Night Live.
You're on Saturday Night Live. You're doing all of these things, potentially being the center apple on this show after last season, after the growth that you showed. You're not even in the show anymore. What were you doing?
I don't know. I
You're
have
having
no
marital
idea.
disputes with Pavitt, and that's it? That's all you have? What's
But
going on?
I don't know. I
I
don't
just
know.
I just don't get it. The show sucks. I'm gonna say it again. The show fucking blows, and I hate watching it. But thanks, guys. I know you guys like watching us watch it, so
Maybe this will be the
great.
one where like, ooh, this wasn't fun to listen to. Maybe this will be the one.
I doubt it, dude.
I
It's
don't know.
probably gonna be even better.
I don't know, but we will find out. We will hear from you. I do know that you guys will let us know. And
Uh-huh.
guys, something tells me that you're gonna keep poking and say keep going. And of course we will because we listen to you. You say jump, we say how high because that's what we're here for. We're here for you.
Mm-hmm.
But don't think that we don't think about it sometimes. Like
Well, look,
these.
this might be promising. We only have 2 questions.
Oh, that's a good start. But we did put the questions out like a half an hour ago. So
2 hours ago.
okay, all right.
But it's also in the midst of Spotify Unwrapped, so maybe people just stopped looking at our stories.
That could be true as well. From Haley Harvison. Did y'all see the replies on X when Andy asked for questions about the reunion?
No, I haven't.
No, I would imagine it's a war zone if I had to guess. I can't imagine that went well. Should we
Since
read
we
some of
only have two,
That's what we'll
I'm
do.
looking them up. Yeah, since
That's
we only
exactly
have
what we'll do.
two, I'm gonna be looking them up. Let's see. There we go. Sergio from Clifton, New Jersey. Will you please all quit and apologize to this nation for ruining an iconic show? Yes, they should. A
All right, let me pick
reunion to
one.
discuss what? Give them a 30-minute Watch What Happens Live special and wrap it up. Bravo's already done enough damage to this franchise. Makes me so sad.
From Beth Hughes. I don't know why y'all are wasting money on a reunion just before you announce the cancellation of this abomination. Oh, it's not canceled. I got to skip that. Sorry, Beth Hughes. From Jenny. Why are they so boring? And why are you so unwilling to accept that this reboot was wrong? You just needed to get rid of Leah and Ebony and all would have been fine. Admit when you were wrong. The reboot stinks.
Question for Andy. How hard is it for you to admit that you were wrong? Question for Ramona. Where are you?
That's a question for Andrew Cohen. Ooh, legal name. Why do you keep trying to make fetch happen? We're never going to buy it, however hard you try. It's okay to admit you messed up when this was all your idea, baby. The fix is very simple, and it's a gif of Luann.
God.
Jesus.
Oh,
Oh my God,
boy.
this one's funny. From Bethany's waterbed. Why do you guys feel the need to make the show so bad? Oh, I think that's like, why do you need to make this so? Like, why do you have to try so hard? Not they're saying why you intentionally making it so bad. That's
Yep.
how I read it.
Yeah, a lot of these are just questions for the old members. Like question
Yeah,
for
it's funny.
Luann, question for Ramona. Oh man. Well,
This is the last one. From Born Tired. We have no questions. Jesus. Yeah, look, I mean, it's a resounding shitstorm. Who knows? I don't know. Like I said in the beginning, it's here to stay, apparently. So I'm more curious now just what they believe the fix would be. That's all.
yeah.
That's where I'm at.
One last one here because now I'm just stuck in a rabbit hole. From Austin Collins. Can we do a live firing akin to Wendy Williams announcing the firings of the majority of the season 4 RHONY cast?
Yeah,
Live
sure.
firing would be electric. Everybody would tune into that.
But yeah, thank you to all of you beautiful listeners out there for making us do this
Thank
again.
you.
Yeah, big old thank you to you guys because this was so fun.
I got your
And you,
thank you right here, pal.
wow, I didn't
Yeah.
say that. That was old Shooter Magooter. But yeah, we got to get finished up because we have to do Beverly Hills now, which I'm excited for because I think that's also a struggle with RHONY is every other show right now is good. Every other show is good. This is
Yep.
the only bad one, so it just highlights how bad it is. But
Yeah.
we're gonna go do that now because
We are.
yay, double thumbs up.
Sweet.
Shooter. Yeah. Bravo's